We begin with an apparent stalemate in the Middle East between the U.S. and Iran. President Trump is slamming Iran's latest offer to end the war, calling it, quote, a stupid proposal. In the Oval Office yesterday, he cast doubt over the fragile ceasefire with Tehran.
I would call it the weakest right now. After reading that piece of garbage they sent us, I didn't even finish reading it. They said, I'm not going to waste my time reading it. I would say it's one of the weakest right now. It's on life support.
Iran's parliament speaker is urging the U.S., meanwhile, to accept the country's proposal, writing, quote, the longer they drag their feet, the more American taxpayers will pay for it. And consumers are paying more at the pump. Gas prices have soared more than 50% since the war began. A gallon of regular will now cost you $4.50 on average. That's down just slightly from yesterday, but still high. In an exclusive interview with CBS News, President Trump said he wants to now suspend the federal gas tax. That move would save drivers about 18 cents per gallon. And CBS News has exclusively learned Pakistan allowed Iran to park military aircraft on its airfields despite its mediator role in the conflict. That move potentially shielded the aircraft from American airstrikes. U.S. officials also tell CBS News Iran sent civilian aircraft to park in Afghanistan. And Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and Joint Chiefs Chairman General Dan Kane, they are expected to face tough questions on the Hill today. The pair will testify on the war in Iran and the 2027 budget. CBS News White House reporter Aaron Navarro joins us from our D.C. bureau for more on all of these top lines this morning. Aaron, good morning. President Trump seemed to project confidence in the ceasefire up until this point. So from the Oval Office, what is his overall message now?
Good morning, Errol. The president's comments both yesterday and immediately when the proposal was received from Iran, when President Trump called it, quote, totally unacceptable, show just how far apart the two countries are when it comes to some sort of peace deal or even just setting the terms for more rounds of negotiations. Yesterday, President Trump said the ceasefire was on life support and really berated Iran for the response, though he did reveal that Iran, according to him, told the U.S. that they wanted them to retrieve enriched nuclear material from its facilities, which was thought of as a potential U.S. military operation earlier in this conflict. The president also told our colleague Nancy Cortez he wants to suspend the federal gas tax of about 18 cents per gallon, which did prompt support from Republicans on the Hill and Democrats to say it's not enough. Take a listen.
I think the president is 100% right. We ought to suspend the gas tax. We ought to do diesel as well. Why wouldn't we take the opportunity to give working people some relief?
Senate Democrats will support real action to lower costs. But let's not pretend 18 cents of gas tax relief per gallon makes up for the damage Trump created with this war.
Now, Senator Hawley of Missouri said he would introduce legislation to suspend the gas tax with a companion bill ready in the House as well. The president also told our colleague Nancy Cortez he's not considering a bailout for U.S. air carriers as they struggle with higher jet fuel costs as a result of this war. Errol?
All right, Aaron, thank you very much. We're going to speak with another Aaron now. CBS News national security analyst Aaron MacLean joins us for more of an overall discussion on the war. Aaron, good morning. The president appeared irritated from the Oval Office on the latest Iran proposal. But so many weeks into this, what options does he have left? There are some critical descriptions describing the U.S. position as being stuck, being deadlocked. Why won't the U.S. just walk away, do you think?
Well, look, I've heard it said about life, and it's certainly true about war, that sometimes you're just faced with a series of bad options, none of which are good. And I think that is President Trump's situation right now. He could, of course, walk away. Formally speaking, that's an option. But with the Strait of Hormuz closed and the future of Iran's nuclear program unresolved, along with a bunch of other issues, it would be very hard to portray the last 2 months as a success for the United States of America. So I would be surprised if that were his course of action. Of course, a return to hostilities would see a lot of damage across the region. It would violate the president's commitment to the American people that this was going to be a 4 to 6 week war. It would cause further trouble in the markets. There are other options beside that, but those are the two major polls, and neither one is great.
And both have serious consequences, specifically politically for Republicans and the president's party with the midterm elections around the corner. You don't want this to be on voters' minds, but at the same time, voters, make choices based on their pocketbook. And if prices continue to be high for fuel, that could also cost the president. So what do you think would be the least damaging choice for the president?
Right. So the fact is either of the choices I just outlined, that is to say, walking away and leaving Iran in charge of the Strait of Hormuz, or returning to hostilities to reopen the strait and perhaps pursue some other goals. Frankly, both of those options have prices staying pretty high for some time. So I don't think you can make the decision on those grounds. I think leaving the Strait of Hormuz in Iranian hands indefinitely essentially allows the Islamic Republic to continue to hold the world's economy hostage at its leisure indefinitely. So I would not be surprised at all at this stage to see a return to hostilities. I think the president and this administration's desire for a diplomatic resolution is genuine, but as of right now, the negotiations themselves are deadlocked, not just the overall situation. And with every passing day, I think it's more likely that you see a return to military action.